I'm not going to yell, not going to scream. Y'all are already yelling and screaming on the inside, but Liam Coen has said, nah, I'm good, love. All right, tune in for Locked On Jaguars here live as we talk about Liam Coen turning down the Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
That's right. It is your team every day here on Locked On Jaguars. We thank you for making us your first listen. I'm Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast, where you can find everywhere where you watch podcasts and where you listen or hear podcasts. I'll be here every single day to give you comprehensive Jaguars coverage that you don't get anywhere else, in only the way that I know how to do it. Today's show is sponsored and brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Man, shout out to the everydayers that join us here every day. And if you are new here, buckle your seatbelt, because I got a surprise. It's snowing outside, and that never happens. But the Jacksonville Jaguars are disappointing people, and that always happens. So you get something that never happens, combined with something that always happens, and then you really, really realize and start self-examining yourself. Why do I keep doing this? But I'm going to try to talk you off the ledge, since I've had so much practice the last 18 years of doing that here today. What's next for the Jaguars is where we're going to end up. I got to spell Jaguars correctly, first of all, on my sheet here, but I'll fix that for you. I don't know what's next for the Jaguars. That's where we're gonna try to end up, and we're gonna try to get there together, man. But this is hard, and this is extremely hard for Jaguar fans. I mean, it just is. So we won't bury that lead as I get ready to fix this little thing here and make sure I spell Jaguars correctly, because we're going live here, man, and that's what we do today. So bear with me, because this requires us to kind of do this together as a family. So before I even get into that, I got to tell you what the rest of this show about. The show is going to be about today. When are we going to do right? I think the fans at this point will say never, because the Jaguars are going to jag. We'll sit that there. And then at the very top, we'll talk about the fact that Liam says no to the Jaguars. All right, so Liam Coen, the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has taken himself out of the running to be the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. And to me, man, it's sad. It's a sad reality here that we have, that somebody would rather stay where they are than come here. There, we got that fixed. Okay, somebody would rather stay where they are than come here. I'm not going to. This ain't going to be a 999 or I got you a show either. What this is me sitting here. I got a lot of scars from talking about this team. I get a lot of people, actually in me to death about this team over a year ago. In fact, let's go back to like week 12 of 2023. I saw them play the 49ers, and I said, we got a problem. They were 8-3 when I said we had a problem. They didn't fix that problem. The Jaguars are masters of putting Band-Aids on broken legs. Your leg's still broken. You can give me a painkiller all you want to for right now to ease the pain until the next time I say it's okay. But it's at this point where I believe fans are abused. Fans are abused, and it's because of incompetence. We can no longer sit here and talk about patience. We can no longer sit here and talk about all of that. Y'all have an owner that listens to the wrong damn people. And I'm not saying that he has to listen to me, but it is painfully obvious. It is painfully obvious that whether you consider Trent Baalke the pothole or the hindrance or the mountain that these guys feel like they can't overcome, when people have choices, they choose somebody else. At some point, you have to look in the mirror and say, it's us. And that's not somebody's fault that you fired, that you actually hired. That's not. At some point, you got to look at yourself. It's like you got a body odor, but you had it so long, you can't even smell it because you're used to it. But everybody's getting away from you. Do you understand that means that you stink? And the only way to get that off is to go in and take a complete bath. What the Jaguars keep doing is hitting the hot spots. They go in and they wipe down in that area. And then they wipe underneath their arms. And they get behind their ears and they brush their teeth. That ain't enough to get you clean. You need to get in the bath. Get a hot bath. Like my great-grandmother used to say, we're going to bathe. Not bathe. We're going to bathe. B-A-Z-E. I don't know what it meant, but I know what it meant. That means we're going to get this stink off of you and we're going to start this all over, and we ain't going to play victim. We ain't going to sit here and talk about when people ask you about cleaning house and you talk about 85 people and the staff. I want y'all to know something. This ain't on Press Taylor. This is why I said it over and over and over again. Stop giving them a reason to shortstop them fixing this and blaming somebody who's in a position who's only doing what somebody taught them how to do. You have to get to the bottom of the problem. And if y'all think that's shot, I'm not going to be angry with you. But what I'm going to say is that man ain't selling the team. This team has increased in valuation 4 times. He ain't going to sell it. Billionaires try to shelter their money. They don't want cash. They want somewhere to put their cash. This is understandable. Ask any financial expert. If you win $100 billion or $100 million, the first thing you need to do is start finding a figure way to shelter your money. Shout out to my man Cap, who 3 years ago said, if you got 90 million in your savings account, you're stupid. He's right. By the way, the Bold City Brigade, y'all going to do what y'all do regardless, and I appreciate that. I feel sorry for people that invest, and not only them, everybody else, but those are the people that go actually on the road wearing Jaguars gear all the time, and they take these bullets from everybody else. It's easy to laugh at somebody that's a fool, especially when that person doesn't know that they're a fool. But the Jaguar fans aren't fools, because the Jaguar fans that represent Duval are representing this city. Unfortunately, there are people that don't understand what that is. And until that team embodies the spirit of the people of this city, that team will never, I don't care how many times you scream Duval and all right, or whatever, and all that. I don't care how many times you put players on the screen. Until you really understands what that means, there's going to be a disconnect between how you play and how we are. I'm sick of it. I am absolutely tired of it. So now we're going to get to the nuts and bolts of exactly what this show is about. And that's about another guy saying no. He said no to the city. He said no to Trevor Lawrence. He said no to Trent Baalke. He said no to, and somebody's going to frame this. They're going to say, well, they named him the coach and wait. And I said 2 weeks ago that Tampa would do that because of their history. That still should not have been enough for Liam Coen to not want to come be the head coach. I guarantee you, whatever money he's making that makes him the highest paid offensive coordinator or one of the highest paid offensive coordinators in the league, there ain't nothing compared to the money he could have gotten. And oh, by the way, Ben Johnson chose to go somewhere else either. So I want all of those people who said that Trent Baalke ain't a hindrance because guys took interviews. I want you to come out now. Like that little meme says, come on out the sewer. Come on out, because you had a choice. You could have said you didn't know, but what you did is you took a posture that you guys are wrong. Nobody knows what they're talking about. How'd that work it out for you? I'm going to get to the nuts and bolts about where we're going to go and what we're going to do next. And if we'll ever get right, we'll talk about that in just a second here on a special live edition of Locked On Jaguars. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to that final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. If you win your first bet, that's $300 to keep the action going. It's a lot. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keeps every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings, whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs. FanDuel has you covered. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make the playoffs season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Rolling along here on a special live edition of Locked On Jaguars, where it is your team every day. I'm Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast. And quite frankly, I'm doing something that I always do. I'm being a little bit of a grief counselor, but I'm also being a little bit of a reality guy. Sitting there. One thing I'll never lie to you. I might lie on you. I won't lie to you. Not about something like this. I'll take scars. I'll take a beating when fans are so enthusiastic about this team, and I'll never, ever, ever try to pour water on that. But what I am telling you is this. At some point, the excuses got to stop. You got to stop saying that, well, maybe this and maybe that. We can maybe ourselves to death, but we have to at some point start realizing what the truth is. And the truth is that while this could be a destination that everyone wants to coach at, while there's a lot of things about this city that have been said that aren't true nationally, while most of the narratives that come out about Jacksonville come in a nasty, disgusting place, because we live here, we know the difference. Sometimes there's truth even in vitriol, right? So you take the reason why people say stuff about the Jaguars out, and you take the little bit of truth, like you filter it, and you hold on to that little bit of truth. That's the concentrated truth. The concentrated truth is the Jaguars are led from the top by somebody who absolutely has no clue in what he's doing. So what happens is he starts listening to other people. You can listen to his comments, and I'm talking about Shad, and tell me, and can't tell me that it isn't basically he's been indoctrinated by someone who's trying to save themselves. And that's Trent Baalke. It's being a GM and being a leader is about more than picking players, which we can argue all day of whether he's done a good enough job at that or not, but we ain't gonna get into that because that's irrelevant, because that's like that side road that it runs right next to the highway. It's going in the same direction, but it's not really going in the same direction. So we ain't gonna get on the side street. What we're gonna do now is just talk about this. This is about the day-to-day function of people working with him. This is why this structure of, well, he'll report to me and he'll report to me. Maybe people do that somewhere else where they've had success. The Jaguars haven't had success. You are shoveling stuff on yourself, and stuff ain't the word my grandmama taught me that you're never supposed to do. Why would you have a structure that circumvents the authority of the people you delegate authority to? It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And that's what you do when you have split leadership and everybody reporting back to you when you don't know that much. Obviously you don't, because when you come out here and somebody asks you a question at a press conference about a clean slate, you bring up 85 people that ain't nobody talking about. You know what? Ryan Stamper was brought here by Urban Meyer. Ryan Stamper's still here, and Urban Meyer's been gone for 3 years. That's proof that you don't have to fire everybody. Did you fire everybody when Trent Baalke came? No, you didn't. That's as evasive as it gets. Well, now, because you're being evasive, what it does is it illuminates the problem with this process and the thinking here. Winners don't want to come here because they believe they can't win here, because they believe that they aren't going to be supported. You really don't want to support them. You know what you want to support? You want to support the things you've already done and prove that the people you fired was the reason it didn't work. Come on, man. Y'all don't see it? Y'all don't see it? The reason why I get really, really animated is because the people I care about most, and granted, I have a professional relationship with a lot of people in that building. I got a personal relationship with this city. I got a personal relationship with these fans. I have a personal relationship with telling the truth to people about what I see. I don't give one damn about hurting nobody's feelings, because you know whose feelings are hurt today because they keep getting told no? The fans. And the fans aren't the reason why these people are turning down these jobs. Folks are turning down the job and taking themselves out of consideration and choosing to go somewhere. Just think about this. Ben Johnson chose to go to Chicago and didn't come to Florida. It feels like Chicago outside of there a little bit, but normally beautiful weather, beautiful city, beautiful place. Quarterback that at least what everybody around here says is a franchise quarterback. Why? Coaching in the AFC South. Why would they go somewhere else? Why would they take themselves out of consideration? You know why? It's because they know you can't win with the current structure of that team. And they also know that you're beating a dead horse by trying to look the owner in his face and tell him that. We're so worried about whether or not we're so worried about whether or not people can come in here and work in Jacksonville. And we're so worried about, okay, what are they going to do differently? And I think those people walking in here for interviews are asking Jacksonville, what are you going to do differently? We need to understand it's not Shad and Trent interviewing someone. It's them interviewing Jacksonville. They want to see for themselves. And the first chance that they get and they see something, you know what they do? They turn and walk away. Why isn't this the destination that, it's like what you want to buy a house, you roll through, you see the house, you see the pictures, right? They never show you the neighbor's house. They never show you the street. And then you realize there ain't a whole bunch of upside value in the neighborhood because while that house is nice, everything around it is not. And I'm not talking about the city. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the leadership. And it's not because they're bad people. It's not because of that. It's not Daniel Snyder. It's not the character that I'm talking about. It's the football excellence, the willingness to do everything that needs to be done to win and not pacify people that are already over there. Dying on this Trent Baalke hill is one hell of a thing to die off of. It ain't like that's Ron Wolf. It ain't like that. Name any great GM that's ever coached in the NFL. You're doing this for Trent Baalke. Give him a severance pay. He'll appreciate it. Why? I don't get it. Nobody gets it. Nobody understands. And somebody else come out and say, Wig, you ain't a part of the organization. You haven't been in an interview. You're not here. Guess what deductive reasoning tells me? The deductive reasoning tells me that Ben Johnson and Liam Coen both have been at those interviews, and one guy took another job, and one guy took a job that isn't even a promotion. And so, as we know, in order to stay where he is, why? Why do you keep making Jacksonville look like a place that is either a speed bump or a detour instead of making it look like the destination that people need to be on, the road somebody needs to be on in order to get this team and this franchise to the promised land? But believe it or not, if you're a Jaguar, if you're in that front office over there, you might think I'm criticizing you. But like my man Kendrick Lamar says, I'm the one trying to help you and you don't even realize it. I'll tell you more about this in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. Today's show is sponsored and brought to you by Talkspace. Listen, man, therapy is a game changer. It can help manage stress, improve sleep, communicate more effectively, but finding the right therapist and fitting sessions into a busy schedule can be a challenge, and that's where Talkspace comes in. Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, makes getting the help you need easy, accessible, and affordable. With Talkspace, signing up is simple. You can match with a licensed therapist who fits your needs, usually within 48 hours, and it's convenient. You can have sessions from the comfort of your home and even message your therapist between appointments. Plus, Talkspace is covered by many insurance plans, and for most insured members, there's a $0 copay. It's never been easier to prioritize your mental health. Jaguar fans, you might want to tap into this today and take a big listen. As a listener of this podcast, you'll get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnNFL and enter the promo code SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnNFL and enter promo code SPACE80 to get $80 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's Talkspace.com/LockedOnNFL, promo code SPACE80. Special live edition of Locked On Jaguars, where it's your team every day. I'm Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast. Thank you for joining us here today. We're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars and them now being told by Liam Coen, the offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Bucs, that he's staying put. It's one thing for them to choose somebody else, but it's another thing for some to be letting your candidates choose other people. In fact, it's real bad when your candidate says, "Nah, I'm good, dog." And see, the thing is you're talking about taking a guy from an organization where he knows where things work, where there's absolute leadership, not only with his coach Todd Bowles, but Bruce Arians is still in the organization. Todd Light is in the organization. And here's the thing, man. They was talking about Liam Coen. And I just saw this with Cap. They was talking about him bringing in Chip Kelly, who I mentioned yesterday, to help with the offense, and Brandon Staley, who can help with the defense. He ain't no good head coach, but he can help with the defense. And then there were some things that y'all brag, y'all talk about the Tampa offensive line. They say he was going to bring along also maybe the offensive line, a coach from Tampa, to come here in another capacity as a run game coordinator. And now all of that is out the window, and the Jaguars are now moving on to talk to Patrick Graham and Robert Saleh, two good candidates. I like them both as coaches, all right? And I warn people, if they end up with one of those guys, Aaron Glenn is probably going to the Jets, according to reports. If they end up with one of them, I'll get back on the horse and I'll point out all the positive things about both of those coaches. I have never, and anybody listening to this show knows this, I have never been one of these people that says we need an offensive-minded coach, all right? And the reason why is because with the Jaguars, you can never set your mind on one thing. Because every time you set your mind on one thing and you go out and you carry that flag for that one thing, you usually find yourself having to backtrack, and you usually find yourself having to go in a different direction. And you usually find yourself saying, okay, they didn't do that, but we'll do this. I didn't have, people kept asking me, who's your candidate? Well, whoever they decide, I don't care, because I'm not a part of the interviews. I don't know what those people are going to say. And whoever they end up hiring, they're going to win the press conference. They're going to do the coach speak. They're going to do all of that. And you know what? They might turn this whole thing around. Just like Brian Thomas Jr. fell to the Jaguars last year. Even when they traded back, they still got him. And he turned out to be what he is. A broke clock can be right twice a day. As a matter of fact, it is. Here's the point. You ain't going to win a Super Bowl by accident. You're not going to become a consistent contender by accident. You might get there and take a little peak like 2017, like 97, like 99, and even like 2022 a little bit, where it looks like you're promise. You have promise, and it looks like the team is headed in the right direction. But here's what won't happen: sustainability. You won't ever be a franchise with Trent Baalke. You'll never be a franchise that finally gets this thing right, and you're competing year in and year out, like, say, the Rams are right now, the Steelers, other organizations. Of course, we can mention the Chiefs. You will never, ever, ever get to that point with Trent Baalke. I am telling you over and over and over again. Folks don't think that is a hindrance. It is. And then the whole thing, even if Shad is right by keeping Trent, and that's a big even if he's right by keeping Trent, if the perception exists, like, Trent might not be as bad as his job as I'm saying he is, okay? I think he is, but even if he's not, the question isn't, are we wrong about how bad we think Trent is? The question is, because when you're looking at it like that, you're looking to solve problems. I'm not looking to solve problems. I'm looking for someone that's looking for solutions. I don't want someone who says, nah, we ain't going to lose. I want somebody who says, I know how to win. That is what leadership is, man. That is what it is. And I keep seeing this word ego and egomaniac. That's exactly what you need, because an egomaniac and a guy who's accountable, it looks just the same until you take a closer look. An accountable guy, an accountable leader is somebody that looks arrogant, because he is absolutely sure and certain that he knows what he's doing. Not looking arrogant because they have a position. Not telling people, you've never done this before. Not telling anybody, okay, so we want to play that you ain't never done this before, Trent. You ain't never won a Super Bowl. How about that one? How about that one? You ain't never had a whole bunch of people walk around talking about how good it is to work for you. How about that one? So, folks can look at you and talk about what you haven't done, but it makes you lose sight of the fact that they haven't done in their career what they're sitting there bragging and telling you that they can do. Don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare yourself to Fan. Don't compare yourself to people that use clown emojis, which I ain't never done that either. Compare yourself to other GMs that win. Compare yourselves to other people that sit in interviews only to have those candidates choose somebody else. Don't call us ugly. Don't call us ugly because you can't get chosen at the club. Nah, bro. We don't do that where we come from. We don't do that in the barbershop. We don't do that anywhere else. It's over. All of the coach speak and all of the evasive press conferences and all of the nobody knows. And when I heard him say, you ain't no crystal ball, you don't know how to do this. And when I heard him say, we never look backwards, I wouldn't look backwards either if when you look in that rearview mirror, all you see is destruction that you have caused. I ain't going to get on the people that got on me about all of this. Not. Because I know why y'all did it. You did it out of enthusiasm. You did it out of love. You did it out of fandom. And you continue to do it out of love and fandom. But I will get on those people that when you tell them the truth, they sit here and look you right in your face and say, you're the problem. I ain't played one game. I ain't coached one game. I ain't picked one player. All I'm just telling you is this. Tap into how you feel today as a Jacksonville Jaguar fan. That's what I hate. I don't hate that people don't listen to me. I don't hate when people say snide things on social media. What I hate, what I really, really hate is watching the Jaguar fans feel like they feel this morning. And that doesn't mean that the coach that they get, whether it's Robert Saleh, Graham, if they go the route of Joe Brady, all of that, it doesn't mean that those guys won't be successful. It just means that you keep getting turned down at the altar by a frog. By guys that don't want you. And that makes you're actually the frog. I mean, you're the frog. You think you're a prince, you ain't looking in the mirror at yourself. It's like your buddy comes to pick you up, blows the horn, and he's outside, and you spend all day putting your clothes on and your cologne, and when you get to the car, somebody out in the car says, dog, I know you ain't wearing that. And you think you just as clean. No, you're not. You're just as dirty as you can be, and you refuse to take a bath, even when nobody's standing next to you in the club. Hey, man, tune in to Locked On NFL twice a day. Tyler Rowland, I'm sure he's going to talk about this tomorrow morning because he's locked on NFL, but he's actually locked on Titans too. People laughing. Let them laugh. Don't worry about it. At some point, this will be all right. We'll figure it out. Maybe this is the gut punch Shad needs. I doubt it. I hope they don't continue to try to justify who they are by saying, well, Tampa made him a sweet deal and he's the coach in waiting. I don't care about all that. He just didn't choose you. Tune into the barbershop, the second edition of Locked On NFL. Also, I'll be there every single day on Locked On NFL. No, I told you so's, but I'll let you say it. Did I? Good, because that's the kind of stuff we do every single day here on Locked On Jaguars. Jaguar fans, get you some therapy. Don't lie to yourself. Tell yourself the truth. And also, last but not least, please be careful. The roads are icy. I know we don't have a lot of experience driving. I don't want anybody to compound the bad news of the day with compounding it by not being able to get to where you need to and have an accident. So please be careful. That's my weather advisory for today. You guys take care. Enjoy your day off here in Jacksonville with your family. God bless y'all Jaguar fans, because you sure need it.